Around Kitsap, where we focus on one issue important to citizens all around the county. Today our topic is the NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Joining me today are the NAACP President, Elliott Lloyd. Elliott is Reverend at the Sinclair Missionary Baptist Church.
Yes.
Welcome.
Coleman, pastor.
Thank you so much. Next to me is Joan Farabee. Joan is past president, current secretary. Joan works in the city of Edmonds, but lives right here in Kitsap in Illahee.
Yes.
Joan and I met the night President Obama was first elected.
Yeah.
We met at the Silverdale Hotel.
Yeah.
There was a big party going on, and Joan and I made a connection there, and
Yes,
here we
we
are
did.
5 years later.
5 years later. I mean, the world is just so small.
It's really
You
small.
never know who you're going to run into.
We want to thank Bill Mahan for making this connection for us. Bill contacted me and asked me to focus on the NAACP in Kitsap County. So we're glad to be talking about this. So first of all, President, tell us about the NAACP in Bremerton, and what is the role of the NAACP?
The role of the NAACP in Bremerton is to establish rights for all people of color, Latinos, Native Americans, Afro-Americans, whites, and religious as well. And our role is to make sure, have everyone accountable for their actions, whether it's be good or bad or insignificant.
Awesome. Very good. Now, Joan, you've been with the organization for many, many years.
Yes.
And was president for 6 years. Now she's assumed the role of secretary. How many members are there in?
There's 82 members, and we also have a youth group called the Youth Council.
The Youth Council. And are they getting very active, and who's mentoring those young people?
Well, we wish that we had more youth involved. Our president, Youth Council president, is Samuel Nick, and they go around doing different things, mostly mentoring little kids, working on whatever kind of issues, like they worked on helping to get people to sign up to vote.
Great.
So,
great. Very good. So I talked about President Lloyd. I talked about the acronym and what it means, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. So how is the NAACP advancing in these changing times? How are we doing that? And I think Joan was going to start with that and kind of give us a little education on the NAACP. I'm sorry that I kind of threw you
no,
there.
that's okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, the NAACP was established in 1909 on Abraham Lincoln's birthday,
Wow.
February 12th, 1909. It was established with 2 African Americans, and the rest of the people, 9 of them, were Caucasian. They were to fight for the protection and rights of African Americans. And so the first significant bill that they passed was the lynching bill. And then another very significant bill, which is very effective today, is the 1965 voting bill, the Bill of Rights. The Voting Right Act bill. My tongue is getting a little. Anyway, when they passed this bill in 1965, it was supposed to be for 5 years, because they thought, okay, after 5 years, everything will be okay. We don't need to have this bill anymore. They had to pass it again in 1970, again in 1975, again in 1982. And just recently, in 2007, they passed it again for 25 years this time. Now,
Why?
why you may ask yourself, I'm going to answer that question that you have.
That's
Why
right.
do we need a voting bill when we have the 15th Amendment that says that citizens have the right to vote? Because what some jurisdictions were doing was changing polls, intimidating the voters, and also making a voter take a test. And if they didn't pass a test, they couldn't vote. Okay, so that's why this bill was established, to stop that kind of things from happening. Okay, so you would think after the legislative thought after 5 years they wouldn't have that problem anymore. Well, obviously they did, because it still continued for 42 years. Now, 2007, they kind of changed their strategy. So they do at-large election annexation, which changes the geographical voting. They changed the location of the polls. And then they came up with a brand new thing this last election, which was even though you have a government-issued driver's license with your picture on it, you also had to have another piece of ID. And without another piece of ID, you can't vote. So,
Where was that happening, Joan?
in a lot of the southern states, in Ohio, which you wouldn't think that would be happening in
Right.
Ohio.
Right.
So when they passed this law again in 2007, there was 3 things that they wanted to make sure of. One is it's called Section 5, and that's to make sure that the jurisdictions, in order to change any new practices or procedures for voting, they have to check with the U.S. Department of Justice and get their approval in certain jurisdictions. Then also Section 203, which that section was put in 1975, and which is if you're in a community where most of the people that live there are bilingual and they don't speak English, that there should be someone there to assist them when they're voting. And then the last section was 6 to 9, which was that the federal government had the right to come out and observe certain election poll areas if there's evidence of people intimidating voters. So where people are thinking, oh, what do we need a Voting Right Act, when we have that in the 15th Amendment. This is just to strengthen what was
Great.
going on. So,
And that's how the NAACP kind of evolved. It came into being in 1909, and now it monitors many, many issues
yes, many issues.
regarding
Yeah.
people of all colors.
Colors,
All colors.
all religious background.
There you go.
And you know, before we started our cameras rolling today, one of my big questions was going to be the changing times, and is it good to still be calling it colored people?
Well, yes it is, because the NAACP, the acronym stands for National Association for the Advancement of Colored People.
Colored people.
We're all colored people, one color or another, whether it's red, yellow, black or brown. No Martians on Earth yet, or green. But it's for all people of color.
Got it. So it is relevant. It is current.
It is relevant.
is current.
And, I mean, I don't think that, a long time ago, just African Americans were called colored people. But that's not the case anymore.
Amen.
I mean, we all come in different colors.
Right. So tell us about membership, and are there African Americans and Pacific Islanders and Native American, are there representatives of all those cultures?
Yes, we're pretty diverse branch. We have all races in our branch. We have Samoans, Pacific Islanders, Latinos, different religions also is in our branch. We have Baptists, CME,
Catholics.
So it's pretty diverse.
Jewish religion, too.
Yeah, great. And where are the meetings held?
The meetings are held behind Ebenezer's. It's 709 Park Avenue.
That's the executive meeting.
which is the executive meeting, which is every second Monday. But the general membership is at KCR, and that's every third Thursday, beginning at 6:30. And the executive board member also meets on the second Monday, and that meeting is also at 6:30, along with the one on Thursday for the youth council.
And those meetings are all open to anybody.
Yes, they are. They are. Even the executive board member, is open to them. They're not allowed to have anything to say during these,
If you
but they
wanna
can bring
observe.
it out in the general membership.
Right, if you want to observe or see how the group is functioning. How about the website, Joan? How do people find out more information about the NAACP in Bremerton?
Well, we have a website. It's the NAACPBremerton.com website.
Excellent.
That will tell you about when our meetings are, list of meetings, youth meetings, and also general membership and executive meetings. And
Excellent.
the events coming up, which our president will tell you about the most recent event we're getting ready to have.
Right. We really want to talk about the Freedom Fund banquet. It is their major fundraiser, but first of all, how did the whole title of Freedom Fund Banquet come about?
The title Freedom Fund Banquet came about because NAACP has always been fighting for freedom. And in fighting for freedom, we have to have some funds so that the branch can operate to assist in some of the cases that we may come across. So that's and the Freedom Fund is one of our biggest and it's the major fundraiser that we have. And we're having it this June, June 29th at the Kitsap Conference Center in Bremerton. It starts from 6 until. And our guest speaker at the time will also be Edward Prince, who is the Executive Director for the Washington State Commission of African American Affairs.
Awesome. Wow, that sounds like a good speaker. Very good. How many folks usually attend the banquet?
About 100.
Nice.
Somewhere between
Recently.
100, 150, 125, 150, so usually that area. I think the last one we had around about 150 that was accounted for. And we need a lot of people to come out and support the Freedom Fund so that we can continue to do the work of the NAACP.
That's great. So let's talk about other activities that the NAACP is involved in. If someone feels their rights were violated, are you the right group to go to? And do you help them with legal?
You want to take that one, President?
If someone is having a problem, we are the, as far as discrimination or civil rights are being misused, we are the one that they can come to. Now, we can suggest to them a legal advice, but we can't, as a brand, give them legal advice.
Okay, great.
We can investigate to see what the problem, what causes the problem, and what would be the solution of the problem. Then we bring recommendations to the person that is involved, and we recommend that they have either an attorney or go proceed from that point on.
Wow.
And then the interesting thing is that a lot of times there could be a company that their employee may come to us because they feel like their rights are being violated. And when our president and another group of people go and meet with the company and explain what that employee is feeling, sometimes that company just, they just need somebody to, just do a little knock. And
Bring
they're
attention.
Like, oh, we didn't think of it that way. And so, we kind of consider ourselves adversaries for people who have issues that we try to help them before they have to go to a lawyer,
That's
if possible.
That's awesome. Very, very good. Is the NAACP at this point in the county, are you maintaining membership? Are you losing membership? Growing membership? Where are you at with that? You're the secretary. You know the numbers. How are those?
Well, we have 82 members.
That's pretty
and
good.
We are always out recruiting members. We need your help. We need you to be a member. It's only $30. It hasn't raised since I can remember. So it
Really?
has been $30 for a membership since at least 1940. So, I mean,
Wow.
that's amazing.
That is amazing.
That is truly amazing. And the youth membership is only $10.
That's great.
So we're always out, you know, you say, are we losing members? What we're doing is we're always recruiting. So we're always gaining members. Because we live in a military area, people move away.
Right.
So, yes, sometimes we are losing members, but we're always out recruiting. You'll always see a NAACP chairperson with membership envelopes and saying, do you want to be a member? Do you want to be a member?
How about our young people, President Elliott? How do we reach out to the young people and get them involved?
Well, that's going to take a lot of getting involved with the youth and the young people, because I was amazed to find that a lot of young people do not even know what the NAACP stands for. Not only Filipinos, Latinos, even young black men and women. Ask them nowadays what NAACP, they couldn't tell you. So I think we as a branch need to get the public involved so that we can get the youth involved and get everybody involved so we're able to be on the same page. Then at the end of the day, everybody's still on the same page, knowing what the NAACP stands for, and also what what it's meaning and what they stand for.
You know, I'm a baby boomer, and the term colored people, when I was growing up, was not a nice term. So I was enlightened today to learn that colored people is Pacific Islanders, Native Americans. So that's comforting. That is comforting. So also, Joan, you and I were raised in big cities, Chicago, New York, the
Georgia.
South.
Yes.
Probably not a big city, but the South. And we all have ideas about that. What are your feelings about race relations in Kitsap?
There's discrimination. It's a little more overt than what it was back in the 60s. But it's definitely there. And there's always got to be some organization that's going to bring it to the forefront. Okay? You're always going to have people who think, you know, especially in a down economy. You know, there's always, in a down economy, history shows where, you know, the citizens try to look for someone to blame. Okay? So when you're in a down economy, people don't have work, they don't have anything to do. You get somebody out there wanting to start rallying up people, even though it's for the wrong cause. People tend to sometimes go to a cause like that. So I think Kitsap County is a wonderful place to live. I love living here. Me and Elliot was just talking in the vehicle about the fact that we love the temperature. Now, I come from New York, and I just can't take the extreme cold or the extreme heat. So,
Well, it's gonna
Elliot's
get
from
warm.
the South.
Yeah. Oh,
He
and it
can't
gets
take
warm.
the extreme heat.
Born in Miami,
Yeah.
raised in Middle Georgia, I can't stand heat.
Yeah.
But getting back to the subject about race relations here in Kitsap County, being raised in Georgia, I had the opportunity to face different types of racism. But the thing about it in the South is it's open. They let you know right out front. But I've noticed that out west and in the north, it's more of a hidden thing. It's like an undercover. And those are hard to deal with. In the South, you know how to deal with racism in the South because they're so open with it out front. But when it gets to the point where it's hitting, then you don't know how to deal with it. And that's where we come in. We want to make everyone accountable for not only their deeds, their thoughts, and their actions.
Very well said. Very, very well said. Please support the NAACP, and you can do that by going to their website, which is www.naacpbremerton.com. The meetings are the third Thursdays
Of every
At
month.
of every
KCR.
month at the KCR building, which is 8th and Warren.
Yes.
1201 Park Place.
Oh, you're going at 1201 Park at that
Yes.
KCR. There's numerous KCR buildings. go to the 1201 park. I did misspeak. If you are a youth or a parent of a youth, this is a good organization for
Beautiful
youth of
organization.
color to get involved and find a path to help your neighbors here.
And you know, when they apply to colleges, it looks really nice to say,
Very
you know, I've been president or secretary or
Right.
chairperson for the youth NAACP. It shows you're involved in your whole community.
That's exactly right. And the Freedom Fund Banquet is Saturday, June 29th at the Kitsap Conference Center, and it starts at 6 p.m. There's going to be an awesome speaker. It is the Freedom Fund Banquet, June 29th. Don't miss that as well. I want to thank you so much for coming in today and sharing about the NAACP. Thank
You're
you very
welcome.
much, and thanks for your time in the service in our community. It's very, very appreciated. And thanks for joining us around Kitsap. We'll see you next time.